Hi, my name is Wendy Myers. I'm a health and nutrition coach, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about bladder infections. They afflict millions of women every year, and I thought it was just very important to talk about how to treat these naturally. Because whenever you go to your doctor's office, they always will give you antibiotics. And so my goal here is to inform you of how you can treat your bladder infections naturally without having to destroy your immune system by taking antibiotics. As you know, antibiotics, they kill all the probiotics in your intestines, and your intestines harbor, pretty much 85% of your immune system. So it's just very important for you to look for natural alternatives to treat your bladder infections. Some of the symptoms of bladder infections are cloudy urine, dark urine, having to go to the bathroom frequently, or having a really strong urge to urinate, and even pain. They're, obviously very, very uncomfortable. And some of the causes of bladder infections are 90% of them are caused by the E. coli bacterium, and this is not the harmful kind that you find in rotting meat or contaminated meat. It's just a bacteria that's naturally present in our intestines, and when we don't have good intestinal health by not having enough good probiotics in our intestines, then this pathogenic E. coli can make its way into other parts of the body, including the bladder. And so, like I said, 90% of bladder infections are caused by this. It can also be caused by frequent or traumatic sexual intercourse. It can be caused by pregnancy, that changes our body chemistry a little bit, so that we're more naturally able to contract bladder infections. If you drink large amounts of alcohol, that can cause dehydration and changes in your body chemistry that harbor that. Also, if you don't drink enough water, that's going to be a significant problem because you're not able to flush out all the acids and bacteria in your bladder, and they remain in there and can proliferate. Some of the problems with bladder infections, if you don't treat them, it can progress into a kidney infection. That's very, very serious because it can cause permanent damage to your kidneys, which obviously you don't want. So if you have any of the symptoms I mentioned before, but you also have fever, you have abdominal pain, or you have back, specifically lower back, groin, or flank pain, on your sides, then you definitely want to see a physician and get antibiotics. You want to take care of that pronto because you don't want to have permanent damage and have that infection get into your blood and could even possibly kill you. So don't ignore any pain at all, except for like the stinging pain you have when you have to urinate. That's a little bit different. Now, some of the natural treatments that you can use for bladder infections, encompass lifestyle supplements and foods that you can use. Some of the lifestyle factors you want to think about are using, don't wear tight-fitting clothes, including like pantyhose and things like that. Those will create moisture and proliferate bacteria. You want to wear cotton underwear, so not synthetic fabrics, because cotton breathes. It allows oxygen and air to get into that area. You also want to, avoid any feminine hygiene sprays or douches. Those typically have really irritating ingredients. They have parabens and fragrance. Parabens are known hormone disruptors, endocrine disruptors, and parabens have carcinogens, or fragrance has carcinogens in them. The term fragrance can have 100 different chemicals in it that doesn't have to be listed on the label, so avoid anything in that area with fragrance or any kind of powders or douches and whatnot. Another thing, you want to pee before and after sex, just so you can clear out the urethra after having intercourse, so no bacteria can get up there from your partner. And you also want to definitely wash after intercourse. You want to use unscented toilet paper, again, no fragrance in that toilet paper. And you also want to urinate whenever you have to. Don't hold your urinate. That's always a good idea. Some of the supplements you want to try, which I definitely prize over using antibiotics, the number one is D-mannose. D-mannose can get rid of 90% of bladder infections within 1 to 2 days, and it's actually 10 to 15 times more stronger than cranberry. Because everyone thinks of cranberry, that's the first thing they think of with a bladder infection, but it's actually D-mannose that you want to be using. And I have dosing suggestions on the blog that you can read. The next one you can try is cranberry. Cranberry is wonderful. It's got PACs or proanthocyanidins. But you need a lot of them. Studies show you need 36 milligrams a dose to be effective against bladder infections. So drinking cranberry juice may not be all that effective in getting rid of your bladder infection unless it's like the really, really early stages. Plus, most cranberry juice has a lot of sugar, which you want to avoid to feed a bacterial infection when you have one. So definitely I recommend just taking the supplement. It's easier. You can also take complexes. You can take bladder infection complex. It'll have D-mannose, it'll have cranberry, it'll have bilberry, and a bunch of other supplements that work very well in combination. Just get rid of that bladder infection. Another really important one is probiotics. Anytime you put good bacteria into your body, it'll fight bad bacteria. So probiotics indirectly do help to maintain good bladder health. So especially if you get recurrent bladder infections, that's definitely can be caused by dysbiosis of the gut flora in your intestines. And to prevent future ones, recurrent ones, you want to take probiotics on a daily basis or every other day. But you also want to not take antibiotics because the antibiotics could be the cause of your recurrent bladder infections because it's killing off the probiotics in your intestines. Another one you want to take whenever you have any kind of infection is vitamin C, and I definitely recommend natural vitamin C. I love Pure Synergy's Pure Radiant C. It's a natural vitamin C, not the synthetic ascorbic acid, 95% of which is produced in China. They're also for food. You can take garlic. Garlic is wonderful at fighting infections. I actually every day I take a fermented garlic that I get at my farmer's market. It's a little Korean stand, and I take this really wonderful sweet clove of garlic that I eat every morning. Then I have wonderful breath all day long. But you also want to take definitely drink 3 liters of water. You want to flush that bladder infection out, and you also want to avoid caffeine and alcohol, obviously, when you have a bladder infection, because those anything with alcohol or caffeine in it is going to dehydrate you. Whatever liquid you drink, in the caffeine or the alcohol, you're going to urinate that out plus a little bit more liquid. So you're ultimately going to dehydrate yourself, and that is going to prolong your healing of your bladder infection. So if you have a hard time abstaining, just at least try to reduce your consumption of the alcohol and caffeine, which includes coffee and sodas and teas. So I hope this helps you to heal your bladder infections naturally and to prevent recurrent ones in the future. You don't have to live with bladder infections. And you can also take supplements on a regular basis, a bladder infection supplement, maybe once every couple of weeks or once a month, and that will help prevent recurrent ones in the future. Thanks so much for listening.